Well, hello friends and foes. This week we're going to continue a complete down to the last nut and bolt restoration of this Honda ATC 110 I picked up a couple months ago. Now this thing was such a blast to build, it really took me back to my childhood. In last week's video, I repaired the cracked up original fenders with some pieces of screen and the handy dandy plastic welder, and I also sanded, prepped, and primed the plastics to get them ready for painting. I'll leave a link to last week's video in the comments below if you missed it and want to check that out. Let's start the day by getting the tank and front end parts off of the bike. If you're new to the channel, you might be wondering what that red beast is in the background. Now that's a 1983 three-wheeler that my dad chopped up into a monster trail bike, and I'm building this three-wheeler to be its twin brother. I'll leave a link to the build video of that bike in the comments below if you're interested in seeing that guy come to life. While I'm messing around getting all the junk off the fork, I wanted to stop and say hello to all my new viewers, and also wanted to say thank you to all my returning subscribers. We're 400 strong now. Woohoo! Since I have the handlebar clamp off and in hand, I might as well use some steel wool to get rid of the rust on the chrome and polish up the aluminum. Nice. Now let's move on to sanding the fork and gas tank down with some 400 grit paper and get it ready for primer. The primer I'm using is an automotive polyester filler primer. I really like using this stuff because it's basically liquid Bondo. You can spray it on super thick and sand out any imperfections in the substrate below. Heck, I think you could actually glue a quarter to the tank and fill it in with this stuff. After the primer is set up, I dust everything down with some black guide coat before sanding. Now the guide coat gives you a good reference letting you know if you sanded enough primer away or not. The trick to getting a perfect finish is to sand all of the guide coat away, but not break through the primer to any surfaces below. As I'm sanding, you can see some orange peel and halos that are still in the primer, but if I'm careful, I should be able to sand away any of these low spots that are still covered in guide coat and will be ready for paint.
Oh, a little bit Toady. You gotta go outside. Go outside. Go outside, honey. Go outside. Go outside. You don't belong here. Go outside. That way. There you go, homeboy.
The paint I'm using is a catalyzed urethane automotive paint in 2000 Dodge Viper Red. We're starting off by adding a little hardener to the red base coat. And then adding a touch of reducer to thin out the mix. And finally adding a little bit of flex additive so the paint can flex and bend and twist along with the plastics and will stir away. Oh yeah, it might take a couple of coats to get complete coverage, but this thing's gonna pop. I just love that old Dodge Viper Red. While we're waiting on me to get the paint laid down, I'd like to ask you, if you're enjoying what I'm doing or if you're learning something cool, please return the favor and click that thumbs up like button below or leave me a comment. The more likes and comments I get, the more YouTube will show my videos to others and the more cool stuff I can build for you in the future. It's a win-win, yo! Holy cow, this is gonna pop once the paint sets up and I can wet sand and buff it to a mirror shine. While we're waiting on that hot red paint to dry, let's clean up and prep some other parts for paint so they can join in on the fun. The muffler was in really good shape on the bike. All I needed to do was remove the original paint with a nylon wheel and a little sanding. Yeah, that's nice. Now I'm just going to coat it in some high temp ceramic header paint, cure it with a heat gun, and we'll be good to go. Hey, if you like what you're seeing here, please subscribe to the channel and be sure to click the notification bell so you'll know when I post new videos. Or follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or my website, BigfootBikesandBrews.com for some exclusive sneak peeks of what I'm working on for future videos. I'm busy restoring a bunch of vintage bikes as well as working on some sweet custom builds that I want to share with you. I'm going to try to get a new video out the door early in the morning every week, so be sure to click that notification bell and have your phone ready in the morning so you'll have something to do while you poop. Now we're going to have some real fun trying to get these rusty wheels off the tires. Now I don't know if you've ever tried to break beads on old three-wheeler tires, but good lord, every tire I've ever tried just seems like it was stuck on with a combination of Gorilla Glue and flex tape, and heck, we'll throw a ShamWow somewhere in the mix while we're at it. But bottom line, what I'm getting at, these things were stuck. So what we're doing, since we don't have a tire machine, Dad had the idea to build this bead breaking jig out of some 3/4 inch plywood and a threaded rod. We just clamped the whole shebang together and tightened a nut down on the threaded rod and squeezed the heck out of the tire to break the bead. Huh, look at that, it worked. After I got all the rims off, I gave them a good cleaning in the sandblaster to get rid of all the old paint and rust, and now we're ready to prime. I'm sealing all the bare metal parts up with some automotive epoxy primer. These things are going to stay rust-free forever. Now I'm laying down some silver automotive catalyzed urethane paint. It's basically the same type of stuff that I used on the plastics. I just didn't add any flex additive this time. Now for the fun part. The rear axle was really rusted into the rear brake thingamajiggy, so now it's time to go to town on it with some torch heat, penetrating oil, and a BFH. Yeah. Nah, that's not too bad. Nothing a little time on the wire wheel and some cleanup with the pressure washer won't fix. Hey, thanks again to everyone who stuck around for the whole video. If you have any questions or suggestions, or just want to shoot the breeze, please leave me a comment below. I'd love to chat with you. And also, if you like what I'm doing, it would really make my day and help the channel out if you could hit the thumbs up and like button on your way out. So next week, we're going to continue cleaning everything up and paint the rest of the body panels and some other small parts. And we might even get to doing a little seat upholstery. So if that sounds like fun, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and I'll see you next week. I'm out of here. Alright, I hope you liked this episode of Bigfoot Bikes and Brews. Click on one of the videos here if you want to see some more, and please click on the Bigfoot button to subscribe to the channel and join in on the fun. See you next week.